Over the past 2 weeks, the Nasdaq dropped more than 3%. The Dow Jones dropped more than 5%, and there is a quite high chance that we will see at least a little more continuation towards the downside. But eventually, this correction will be over and we will simply see the next pump towards the upside. And of course, you want to capitalize on the next continuation. So in today's video, I will share with you 4 trading setups on tech stocks, because tech stocks are very strong lately. And I will show you where you can go ahead and actually enter those setups, where you can potentially put your stop losses and where you can put your targets. Those 4 trading setups can make you a cumulative profit of 120%. And as you all know, I'm neither looking at fundamentals nor looking at any indicators. I'm just looking at technicals and the higher time frames. Keep in mind those setups might take some time to play out since I'm looking at the monthly time frame, but it's enough for you to take a couple good setups every single year and you will be perfectly fine. I'm talking about Microsoft, I'm talking about Meta, I'm talking about Google, and I'm talking about Amazon. And starting right here on the naked chart on Microsoft, just basic technical analysis. We do have a support trend line where you can see we had the first rejection in 2020 and then we had the second rejection in 2023. By the way, also perfectly retesting previous resistance, which was turn support. Also creating bullish confirmation on the smaller time frames right here. This continuation towards the upside was actually quite expected. Now, of course, this trade already happened. So where is the next trading opportunity? It's pretty simple because Microsoft also created an ascending triangle formation where you can see we had this rising support trend line. We had this horizontal resistance roughly at $340, and we already had the triangle breakout. More often than not, what will happen is that we see a retest of previous resistance, which, as you all know, after the break towards the upside is then turned support. And then we simply need bullish confirmation on the smaller timeframes indicating a reversal, and then simply the continuation towards the upside. And of course, you can target, as always, the previous high, which leads to a move of plus 20% towards the upside. First of all, of course, Microsoft has to retest this previous resistance, but considering that I do expect an overall short-term stock market correction, this is definitely possible. Let's take a look at setup number 2 on Meta, former Facebook. You can see right here, we do have this reverse triangle formation. This upper resistance, let's actually make it red, was created all the way back in 2018. Always when Meta retested this resistance, we saw a rejection towards the downside. And on the other side, we do have this support trend line where you can see we had the last retest in September of 2022, which was then of course followed by an insane rally towards the upside. You can see plus 450% without any real correction. So also this overextension towards the upside indicates that we might see a short-term stock market correction. And then you can see it's the same concept as on Microsoft. We had previous resistance. We had the previous all-time high back in September of 2021. From here, we started this major drop towards the downside. Now we broke above previous resistance. And after a retest, as you know, and as I just explained, previous resistance is then turned support. So we are waiting for a retest. Once again, bullish confirmation, which we're basically always waiting for, indicating a bullish reversal. And then you can either target the previous all-time high, which already leads to a move of plus 35% towards the upside, or even this upper resistance of the reverse triangle formation, where you can see this leads to a move of roughly plus 70% towards the upside. Also right here, first, we do need a retest of this previous resistance, now turned support. But again, considering that this stock is quite overextended and it's quite likely that we will see a short-term stock market correction, if this setup sets up, then the continuation towards the upside is actually quite likely. Let's take a look at setup number 3 on Amazon. And also right here, it's just basic technical analysis. I'm drawing a resistance right here. Why? Because you can see back in 2021, Amazon once again retested this area. You can see over and over again rejecting towards the downside, roughly $190. And from here, we started this entire bear market. Also then right here, perfectly retesting previous support, creating bullish confirmation, and then the rejection towards the upside. And Amazon is once again retesting this resistance. Also right here, if you measure this move, you can see we had a pump of 130% towards the upside. Basically without any real correction, you can see we only had this one red candle of minus 8% towards the downside, which is basically nothing. So there is a quite high chance that also on this stock we will see at least a short-term correction towards the downside. What we are targeting is simply this next structure towards the downside. You can see roughly at $140. We had previous support after the break towards the downside turned resistance, then it was again short-term resistance, and now after the break towards the upside, it's turned support. So simply waiting for a retest, then once again bullish confirmation, and then of course you can target the previous all-time high, but eventually it's quite likely that if we do see this pullback and the continuation higher, that we will even create new all-time highs. But if you just target the previous all-time high and if you trade the stocks, so no options at all, you can already make 30% on Amazon. And last but not least, let's take a look at Alphabet, Google, however you want to call it. And this basically looks exactly like Microsoft. Also right here you can see we had this trend line, which we had the first retest in 2015, we had the second retest in 2020, and we had the third retest in 2023. Also right here, perfectly retesting previous resistance, creating bullish confirmation. If you did not capitalize on any of those setups at all, then you certainly missed out on a lot of profits during 2023. And also right here, you can basically see that Google stock is creating an ascending triangle formation. Once again, having resistance at $150, we're having this ascending support trend line, so it's an ascending triangle formation. You already know what happened on Microsoft. We saw the bullish breakout. I basically do expect the same thing on Google, and if we do see the breakout followed by a retest, previous resistance at that point is turned support, you can once again wait for bullish confirmation and then just capitalize on the continuation towards the upside and target the previous all-time highs. Now, there is also a second scenario on Google, because if we do see a stock market correction, a short-term stock market correction, we might also once again see a pullback back to this ascending support trend line. If we do get this, and then you can see we also have structure perfectly lining up, and we see bullish confirmation right here, then you can already go ahead and enter a long position and simply target the previous all-time highs. Quickly measuring this move, you can see that also right here we do have a potential profit of 25% if you are just trading the stock, so no options at all. Those are the 4 setups which we are also looking at inside of the Elite program. At the moment, of course, we are in 0 out of those 4 setups, but if they do actually play out, we will certainly take a couple of those trades. If you want to see if we actually take those trades, you can go ahead and click the first link in the description, go to basictrading.net and join the Elite program. And you can also sign up for the free trading newsletter. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, I really appreciate if you smash that like button below. As always, I will see you next weekend, and keep your long-term vision.